Marcus and Alameda, car into a building. 2 are deceased in the vehicle. Daughter's driving.
I'm not even cool. I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die.
I'm Detective Jesus. I'm the one who's been investigating the crash. You're under arrest for aggravated murder ×2, okay? Nobody's gonna ask you any questions. Nobody's gonna bother you. Can I have your key, please?
Could you please be careful taking this one off so it doesn't break the bracelet, please?
You got it. You got it.
Did she actually do it? Mackenzie Shirilla grew up in Strongsville, Ohio, a suburban community where life was typically quiet and predictable. Known as a bright and outgoing young woman, Mackenzie was in her senior year of high school at the time of the tragic events. From the outside, her life seemed full of potential. However, those closest to her knew there were undercurrents of volatility and impulsiveness in her personality.
She mentally just not all there?
Yeah, I don't think she's just mentally all there. Like, I personally feel like she was trying to end that crash and she failed on doing so, is what I feel like. And I feel like she had no regard for Davion. And I feel like they got in an argument, her and Dom, and she threatened to kill.
Had she ever threatened that before?
She hasn't ever threatened to hurt anyone, but she's threatened probably she hasn't physically said I'm gonna, but she's you know what I'm saying, made it to the point where
alluded to it?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, where she's just I hate life, shit like that, and but we were all obviously there for her, still trying to be friends with her and stuff like that, but our friend group probably fell out with Kenzie around after 10th grade, and that's kind of when all of us stopped being friends with just her. We were all cool with that still. Just because she's so crazy, she'll blow everyone's phone up, she's all over the place with everything, and then she's just in general kind of a shady person. She's like a snake.
These traits would later play a critical role in the unfolding of this case. Central to Mackenzie's story is her relationship with Dominic Russo, a 20-year-old entrepreneur with aspirations of joining the military. Dominic, known for his charisma and ambition, had been Mackenzie's boyfriend for 3 years. Their relationship was intense but fraught with conflicts, frequent arguments, and a pattern of breakups and reconciliations. Friends described their bond as passionate yet volatile, with both individuals exhibiting controlling tendencies. Dominic was not just a boyfriend to Mackenzie, but also a cornerstone of her social world. As their relationship progressed, friends observed that Mackenzie often struggled to cope with Dominic's independent nature and his desire for personal growth outside their relationship. Witnesses would later recount instances where she displayed possessive behavior, often escalating minor disagreements into heated confrontations.
We were all about to get on the ride, and Dom was on a phone call. And
despite these challenges, Dominic remained deeply connected to Mackenzie, believing he could help her navigate her struggles. In stark contrast to Mackenzie's tumultuous personality, Dominic's friend, Dave Flanagan, brought a stabilizing presence to their social circle. At 19, Daven had a reputation as a reliable and kind-hearted individual. A former high school football player, he harbored dreams of opening his barbershop and building a stable future. Those who knew him described Daven as someone who always looked out for his friends and worked diligently to overcome the challenges of growing up in foster care. His friendship with Dominic was mutual respect and loyalty, ultimately bringing him into Mackenzie's orbit. As Mackenzie and Dominic's relationship evolved, their interactions became increasingly strained. Witnesses noted that Mackenzie would often make dramatic threats during their arguments, including references to harming herself or Dominic.
Her and Dom, and she threatened to kill.
Had she ever threatened that before?
She hasn't ever threatened to hurt anyone, but she's threatened probably she hasn't physically said I'm gonna, but she's you know what I'm saying, made it to the point where
alluded to it?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, where she's just I hate life, shit like that, and
Dominic's family recalled multiple instances where he expressed concerns about her behavior. On one occasion, he called his mother to pick him up, stating that he felt unsafe riding in Mackenzie's car after she had made threatening remarks. These warnings, while alarming, were dismissed by many as the reckless drama of youth, a miscalculation with devastating consequences. The days leading up to the fateful crash on July 31, 2022, were unremarkable. The trio spent time socializing without apparent signs of the storm brewing beneath. However, it would later be revealed that Mackenzie had visited the crash site days earlier, a detail that suggested her actions may not have been as spontaneous as they initially seemed. Investigators would piece together a timeline that painted a chilling picture of premeditation, raising questions about what drove her to such an extreme act. Mackenzie, Dominic, and Davin were returning from a late-night gathering on the night of the crash.
So I was having a graduation party, and then they got there around like 10:15. Like, they got there a little later, and then stayed for a little bit.
Witnesses described the atmosphere as relaxed, with no major disputes observed during the evening. However, surveillance footage from nearby businesses captured the moments leading up to the crash.
Strongsville. Almost immediately after turning onto Progress Drive, she accelerated her vehicle to 100 miles per hour.
The footage showed Mackenzie turning onto Progress Drive, a short road with a dead end, before accelerating to a speed of 100 miles per hour. The car did not slow down or swerve, slamming directly into a brick building. Dominic and Davin were killed instantly, while Mackenzie was found unconscious but alive, her foot still on the accelerator. The crash sent shockwaves through the Strongsville community, leaving friends and families grappling with grief and disbelief. Dominic's family, in particular, struggled to reconcile the tragedy with the vibrant, ambitious young man they had known.
The other two passengers, like I said, was Davion and who we believe is Dominic, okay? From what Mackenzie told us. Okay. Both Davion and Dominic are deceased.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh God!
Christine,
Oh God!
sit down.
Oh God!
Sit down.
Oh my God!
Davin's adoptive parents were devastated by the loss of a son who had worked so hard to build a stable and promising life. Both families described the incident as an unimaginable tragedy, compounded by Mackenzie, someone they had known and trusted, was at the center of it all. For investigators, the crash initially appeared to be a tragic accident. The sight of two young men dead and a teenage girl severely injured seemed to align with countless other stories of reckless driving among youth.
Whatever you guys need, is there anybody that you know that we can call?
No, something you tried to advise today.
However, as more details emerged, the narrative began to shift. What lay beneath the surface was a story of unchecked anger, impulsive decisions, and a relationship dynamic that spiraled out of control. The stage was set for one of the most shocking cases Strongsville had ever seen, raising questions about love, accountability, and the choices that define us. The night of July 31st, 2022 began innocuously for Mackenzie Shirilla, Dominic Russo, and Davin Flanagan. They had spent the evening at a gathering with friends, sharing laughs and stories. Witness accounts indicated that there was no visible tension among the trio, and by all appearances, it was a typical summer evening. During the investigation, it was revealed that.
And she was like, "Do you trip?" Which meaning like, do you do it? And I was like, "No, I don't do that, and I don't want to do that." Like I feel like she was like asking, she didn't say the words, but I felt like she was asking me if I wanted to trip with them at my house.
Instead of stopping there, they decided to move the party somewhere else. There were shrooms found in the vehicle among Kenzie's belongings. It was also said that they had a marijuana pen, as well as a bottle of patron alcohol that wasn't pulled at the party before they left. As they got into Mackenzie's Toyota Camry to head home, the events that followed would irreversibly alter their lives and devastate two families. The crash occurred on Progress Drive, a narrow, dead-end road in Strongsville. Surveillance footage from local businesses captured Mackenzie's vehicle as it made a controlled turn onto the road. The footage showed no hesitation or erratic movement, only the chilling acceleration as the car sped toward its final destination. Black box data from the vehicle later revealed that Mackenzie had pressed the accelerator to the floor, reaching a speed of 100 miles per hour. At no point did she attempt to brake or slow down. The impact was catastrophic, with the car slamming head-on into a brick building. Dominic and Davin were killed instantly. Emergency responders found Mackenzie unconscious but alive, her foot still on the accelerator. The immediate aftermath of the crash was one of chaos and confusion. First responders worked quickly to extract Mackenzie from the wreckage while Dominic and Davin were pronounced dead at the scene. Mackenzie was airlifted to a nearby hospital for treatment, her survival seeming miraculous given the severity of the crash. news of the accident spread rapidly through Strongsville, leaving the community in shock. Initially, the crash was treated as a tragic accident, a scenario all too common among young drivers. Investigators noted the high speed and lack of braking as indicators of reckless driving, but nothing immediately suggested intent. As they explored the evidence more thoroughly, unsettling details started to come to light. Witness testimonies revealed a pattern of volatile behavior in Mackenzie's relationship with Dominic. Friends and family recounted instances where she had made dramatic threats during arguments, including threats to harm herself or others. These accounts suggested a history of emotional instability that could have played a role in her actions on that fateful night.
I think she's only threatened to harm herself. I don't really think she said that she was gonna like that. That's why I think she was trying to kill herself when she crashed.
Further scrutiny of the black box data confirmed Mackenzie's actions were deliberate. The data showed that she had maintained full pressure on the accelerator for the entirety of Progress Drive. This evidence, combined with the absence of any braking or evasive maneuvers, led investigators to conclude that Mackenzie had intentionally driven the car into the building. The revelations about Mackenzie's behavior and the evidence of intent marked a turning point in the investigation. What had initially seemed like a tragic accident now appeared to be a deliberate act of violence. Investigators began to piece together a timeline of events and motivations, seeking to understand what could have driven a young woman to commit such a heinous act. The loss of Dominic and Davin was felt deeply, not only by their families but also by the countless friends and acquaintances whose lives they had touched. Candlelight vigils were held in their honor, with attendees sharing memories and expressing their sorrow. During the time of mourning, significant questions regarding accountability and justice arose. Things were gearing up for a legal battle to get to the bottom of what really happened and figure out what Mackenzie's actions would lead to. The trial of Mackenzie Shirilla began in late 2022 and quickly became a focal point for the Strongsville community and beyond. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of premeditated violence, arguing that Mackenzie's actions were not the result of recklessness or youthful impulsivity, but a deliberate decision to end the lives of Dominic Russo and Davin Flanagan. The evidence presented in court was overwhelming, leaving little room for doubt about her intent.
Shortly after being released from the hospital, the police were provided additional videos of the defendant from her wheelchair as she attended a concert down in the Flats. And again, Your Honor, I'm introducing these to the court to show the shocking lack of remorse. This was something that was being exhibited while the investigation was still going on, before she was charged and arrested in November of last year.
Mackenzie would also choose to wear a corpse-themed Halloween costume, which would be shown as a further indication of her lack of remorse. Central to the prosecution's case was the black box data retrieved from Mackenzie's Toyota Camry and the surveillance footage capturing her controlled turn onto Progress Drive. Prosecutors also highlighted Mackenzie's visit to the crash site days before the incident, suggesting that she had premeditated her actions. Witness testimonies strengthened the prosecution's case. Friends and family of Dominic and Mackenzie described a relationship fraught with conflict and manipulation. Dominic's mother shared a disturbing phone call from her son weeks before the crash, in which he expressed concern for his safety while riding in Mackenzie's car. Other witnesses detailed instances of Mackenzie making dramatic threats during arguments, including references to crashing her car. These accounts painted a portrait of a volatile and controlling individual whose actions on July 31st, 2022 were the culmination of a long pattern of toxic behavior. The defense, however, sought to humanize Mackenzie and portray the crash as a tragic accident. Her lawyers argued that she was a troubled teenager facing emotional instability and making poor decisions. They contended that while her actions were reckless, they lacked the malice or premeditation necessary to constitute murder. Mackenzie herself expressed deep remorse for the loss of Dominic and Davin, maintaining that she had never intended to harm them.
The families of Dom and Davia, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davia. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away.
The emotional toll of the trial was evident in the courtroom. Family members of Dominic and Davin delivered heartbreaking victim impact statements, describing the profound void left by their loss.
No one wanted this to be a murder or to punish Mackenzie Shirilla for this accident. But this was not a car accident. The evidence and science proved that Mackenzie Shirilla murdered my son, Dominic, as well as Davion. There's no fix put in this case, as the Shirillas would like to proclaim. I want to thank Strongsville Police Department and the state of Ohio for seeking the truth behind this crash. Thanks to them, we all know what happened in that car that day. What we don't know is why. I wish I could change this every day. I lost 3 children in that crash. Not a minute goes by each day that I don't think about
Dominic's mother spoke of her son's charisma and ambition, while Davin's adoptive parents highlighted his resilience and the joy he brought into their lives. Their words underscored the gravity of the crime and the irreplaceable loss suffered by their families.
Forever family, I am devastated by the loss of Davion. The world lost a truly special man. My girls lost their best friend, their protector, the one and only trusted family that has been by their side.
In August 2023, the jury returned a guilty verdict on all charges.
There's only one person who's responsible for the pain of everyone in this room, and that person is you, Mackenzie. Nobody else is responsible. This isn't the fault of Dominic's family, or Davion's family, or your family. And I know that each of you have asked your questions to yourselves, what if? What if I had done this or that? The truth of it is, none of us can control the intentions of another. And when there is a purposeful intent to harm or kill someone, it is the perpetrator alone who bears the responsibility for the choice and the consequences and the harm to follow.
Mackenzie was sentenced to 2 concurrent terms of 15 years to life in prison, making her eligible for parole in 2037. The judge emphasized the calculated nature of her actions and the devastating impact on multiple families. While the verdict brought a sense of closure to some, it also raised questions about the broader implications of the case. Though many people believe Mackenzie's actions were deliberate, there are some people who still maintain that it was a mechanical failure and a complete accident. Mackenzie was said to have been wearing slippers the night of the crash, and the theory suggests that a design flaw in this model's accelerator may have caused it to get stuck under the carpet. During the court, it's also said 2 other important pieces of information. First, that there was no effort made to change the direction. Second, that she drove head-on into a dead end. But there was evidence that at the very last moment, there was an effort made to turn the car, but slightly, as well as the fact that this was not a dead end. It was a well-known shortcut and could have accounted for Mackenzie being there earlier. This gave the internet many theories, ranging from the stuck accelerator to Dom grabbing the wheel. Regardless, the courts did not deem this to be enough evidence. The YouTube channel Crime Circus Cult has been a firm advocate of Mackenzie's innocence, so you can check them out for a more in-depth look at their findings. The trial of Mackenzie Shirilla sparked widespread discussion about the responsibilities and consequences faced by young drivers. Legal experts debated the fairness of her sentence, with some viewing it as a necessary deterrent and others questioning the impact of incarcerating a teenager for such a lengthy period. The case also prompted conversations about the importance of addressing emotional instability and conflict in relationships before they escalate into tragedy. The aftermath of the Mackenzie Shirilla case reverberated far beyond the courtroom, touching the lives of countless individuals within the Strongsville community and sparking a nationwide conversation about accountability, relationships, and the responsibilities of young drivers. For the families of Dominic Russo and Devon Flanagan, the pain of their loss was both profound and enduring, shaping every aspect of their lives in the months and years following the tragedy. Dominic's family channeled their grief into action, establishing a scholarship fund in his memory to support local students pursuing higher education. They hoped that through this initiative, Dominic's legacy as a charismatic and ambitious young man could inspire others to strive for greatness. Similarly, Davin's adoptive parents dedicated themselves to advocating for foster youth, highlighting the resilience and potential of children like Davin, who had overcome significant challenges to build promising futures. The Strongsville community rallied around the families, organizing vigils, fundraisers, and memorial events to honor the lives of Dominic and Davin. These gatherings provided a space for collective mourning and reflection, allowing friends, neighbors, and strangers to unite to support those most affected. The outpouring of solidarity underscored the community's commitment to healing and ensuring that the legacies of the two young men would not be forgotten. At the same time, the case prompted widespread introspection about the dynamics of young relationships and the warning signs of toxic behavior. Schools and local organizations began implementing programs to educate teenagers about healthy communication, emotional regulation, and the importance of seeking help in times of crisis. Workshops and seminars addressed topics such as conflict resolution, mental health awareness, and recognizing abusive patterns in relationships. For many, the case served as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences that can arise when such issues go unaddressed. The legal implications of Mackenzie's case also became a subject of significant debate. While some viewed her sentence as a just response to the calculated nature of her actions, others questioned the fairness of incarcerating a teenager for such a lengthy period. Legal experts and commentators explored the complexities of balancing accountability with the potential for rehabilitation, particularly in cases involving young offenders. The case sparked discussions about the role of the justice system in addressing the underlying factors that contribute to such tragedies, such as mental health challenges, emotional immaturity, and societal pressures. For Mackenzie Shirilla, her actions' weight and consequences loomed large as she began her prison sentence. The once bright future she had envisioned was now replaced by the stark reality of incarceration, a daily reminder of the lives lost and the pain caused by her decisions. Reports from those close to her indicated that she expressed deep remorse for her actions, though for many, her regret could never undo the harm inflicted on Dominic, Davin, and their families. The story of Mackenzie Shirilla is one of love turned toxic, impulsive decisions with irrevocable consequences, and the enduring ripple effects of tragedy. It serves as a cautionary tale for communities everywhere, emphasizing the importance of early intervention, education, and support systems to prevent similar events from occurring. While the scars left by this case may never fully heal, the lessons learned from it have the potential to foster greater understanding, empathy, and resilience in the face of adversity. What do you think about this case? Do you believe Mackenzie Shirilla intentionally crashed? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoy our content, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for joining us, and we can't wait to see you in the following case.